Hello and welcome to my self-portrait, a visual presentation of 5 pieces of art that represent me, Jason Bowers. The first piece of art I'll be discussing is The Creation of Adam by Michelangelo. This is a fresco, and it was painted between 1511 and 1512. This was a piece of art that was created to adorn the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel, and it is in fact one of the most imitated pieces of art on the entire planet. This piece symbolizes the transference of the divine spirit between God and Adam. Basically, this piece represents me because when I first saw it, I didn't take anything religious from it at all. I just thought it was an amazing piece of art, and I actually thought it was something more parental than anything else. I thought it was basically an idea of parents passing on knowledge and wisdom to their children and guiding them. But as I got older, I realized it was a story of Genesis and biblical. It basically showed the visual representation of God giving the divine spark to Adam. That being said, I still think it's an amazing piece of work. I enjoy the balance. I enjoy the blank space in the middle and how your eye is immediately drawn to the hand of God as it touches Adam. It's pretty amazing. I like the idea that God and Adam are seen as almost equals here. God is actually above Adam, but they're almost on a normal field, so it gives you the sense that Adam is something that was created to be nearly not equal to God, but something very close to his own image. And I like that idea. I like that this piece shows power, and it shows beauty, and it has a great sense of balance. And I actually like this piece so much that whenever I see a cool revisioning of it, I'm usually tempted to buy it. I bought this one a couple weeks ago from a local artist at the comic book store, and this is the same picture but done with the Transformers, Optimus Prime, and the guys who I guess created him. So still kind of cool, very balanced. Still what I love about the painting represented with different. The next piece of art I'm going to discuss is called Living Still Life or Still Life Fast Moving, painted by Salvador Dali. It's oil on canvas, and it was painted in 1956. And here it is right here. This piece is actually housed at the Dali Museum, and I saw this painting at the Dali Museum a few years ago, and I liked it so much that I actually bought this book of Dali paintings specifically for this piece. The tour guide said this painting has to do with Dali's understanding of nuclear physics and the idea that there is just an insane amount of motion going on at the subatomic level. So when you see, grapes or apples in a still life, and they seem still, actually on a subatomic level, everything is moving really fast. And I kind of like that. And it kind of gives you the idea that while everything on the surface is moving quickly, everything on the surface is still, then underneath everything is moving quickly. And, when you bump into people in everyday life and they seem like still waters, they actually run very, very deep. And actually, my girlfriend saw me watching this, and she liked it so much that she actually bought me a postcard of it. Oh, and here it is with my dog right there. So, I liked it. I was drawn into it pretty much right away. And the social angle of this piece is the struggle between life and death. Life and death actually juxtapose. So, life is made of small, non-living, moving particles moving quickly, and that creates the basis for life. And then when those particles stop moving, then you get death. And so life and death is a cycle of movement and stillness, and I feel this piece captures that very well. The next piece I'm going to discuss is titled Conan the Barbarian, and it was painted by Frank Frazetta. It is oil on canvas, and it was painted between 1965 and 1966. And Conan the Barbarian, like a lot of Frank Frazetta's pieces, are very stylized. They feature stylized men and women and very strong poses, and they're all about power and strength. And basically, Frank Frazetta began as a comic artist and transitioned into fantasy art. He was doing this type of fantasy art many years ago, or many years before anybody else was really doing it. And the social issue here is the perseverance of human will and hard work to achieve goals, as well as the destruction of class and race in the name of social independence. So basically, Conan stands on a pile of his enemies, achieving victory, and he did it all through sheer force of will. And that idea appeals to me. It really shows something, you know, about the value of hard work, about the value of never giving up, about the value of putting one foot in front of the other in the face of all odds. And I think this, even though it is a kind of a cheesy piece of sci-fi art, I still love it because it reminds you that you can do anything, you can really achieve anything that you think is possible. The second to last piece I'm going to discuss is The Starry Night, painted by Vincent van Gogh. It's an oil on canvas, and it was painted in 1889. And I bought this print several years ago at an art sale. And basically, if I remember correctly, Vincent van Gogh, after he had his mental breakdown and chopped his ear off, was admitted to an insane asylum. And he looked out of his window every night, and he saw this view. And basically, this painting signifies the hope of what it will be over the hope of what was and the consequences of what you've done in the past. So basically, what you've done has run its course. It's still night follows day, and as it always has. And what I can imagine when I look at this painting is Vincent van Gogh sitting in his room night after night, and even after his ear healed and the scab fell off, and after his mind was back to normal, and he was thinking, what was I thinking, you know? All I love is painting, and I survived this insanity, and still night follows day like I was never even here. And this painting just mashes the idea of loss and regret into routine and boredom. What seems so crazy at one time just seems so blah in the future. So, at least Vincent van Gogh was able to say, you know, I've done crazy things and I'm alive to live through it. So, the social angle of this is the perseverance of life and the hope for the future. And I think it's represented pretty well by the colors and you know, the idea that this was somebody in a very bad situation looking out on what. Now, the final piece of art I'm going to talk about here is actually my favorite of the whole bunch. It's called the Discworld Massive, and it was painted by Paul Kidby. It's an oil on canvas, and it was painted between 2014 and 2015. And actually, the print I have is one of 2,000. It's a limited edition print. And here it is right here. So, this idea began back in 2012 when the artist Paul Kidby, who illustrated books and characters from books written by Terry Pratchett, found out that the author of those books, Terry Pratchett, developed Alzheimer's disease. And so in response to that, Paul Kidby decided to take all the characters from his books and basically line them up in a way of saying, you know what, we're gonna fight death, we're gonna fight dying, and we're gonna not hide from it. And so that's what this piece is. That's what this art shows. It shows people standing together, or characters standing together, or beliefs standing together against death. Instead of just brushing it in the corner, it's bringing it to the limelight and saying we're not scared and we're all going to stand together. And so that's the social issue. It's the idea of death and dying and perseverance from it. And that's what really sticks out to me. I love the books. I love the characters. It's very detailed. And I know, you know, when you love a piece of art, you know everything about it, and I know all these characters' names, I know all their stories, and I really like the idea that they were all brought together by the artist to celebrate someone's life and to give them, you know, just support, and art as support, and art as a way of saying thank you for everything you've done and thank you for your strength. I think that's a really good. Thank you so much for bearing with me for this presentation. I hope you've enjoyed my art. Thank you very much for your attention, and I wish you very well. Good luck.